My name is Hannah Cole. I'm 32 years old, and for as long as I can remember, I was never the main character in my own family. I was the backup daughter, the comparison child, the one who existed to make my younger brother look better by default. My brother Ethan, now 28, was golden from the second he was born. My parents told people he was special, not in a medical sense, just in the way parents say when one child feels like destiny and the other feels like an obligation. Growing up, the favoritism wasn't subtle. It wasn't hidden behind excuses or softened by guilt. It was blatant enough that extended family noticed. Family friends joked about it at barbecues. Teachers commented on it during parent nights. Even neighbors picked up on it. Ethan got the upstairs bedroom with the bay windows overlooking the backyard. Walk-in closet, private bathroom, fresh paint every few years. I got the converted storage room in the basement, the kind with a single window well that leaked every time it rained. The carpet always smelled damp, no matter how many times I cleaned it. In winter, you could see your breath because the heating barely reached down there. My bathroom was shared with the washer and dryer, and sometimes I'd wake up to my clothes damp because someone left a load sitting overnight. When I was 16, Ethan got a car. Not just any car, a restored Mustang my dad spent months working on in the garage. I used to watch them from the doorway. Dad teaching Ethan about engines and transmissions, both of them laughing covered in grease. When I asked if I could help, Dad would wave me off. Go do your homework, Hannah. Go mow the lawn. Ethan crashed that Mustang twice in the first year. Both times, Dad fixed it without raising his voice. When I turned 16, I got a lecture. Dad sat me down and explained that owning a car was a privilege, that I needed to demonstrate responsibility. He gave me the bus schedule. So I got a job at a grocery store, worked evenings and weekends, saved for 8 months, and bought a 1998 Honda Civic with over 140,000 miles on it. It barely ran, needed constant repairs, but it was mine. Dad never offered to help fix it. I learned from YouTube in the driveway while he and Ethan watched football inside. Graduation made everything painfully clear. When Ethan barely scraped through high school with a 2.3 GPA, my parents threw him a full graduation party, rented a banquet hall, catered food, DJ, slideshow, photographer, custom suit my mom had tailored just for him. Dad gave a speech about perseverance and dreams. Ethan had failed junior year English and graduated a year late. I graduated 2 years earlier with a 3.8 GPA honors chords and acceptance letters from 3 universities with partial scholarships. I got a card with $50 and a good job. We went to a chain restaurant. Ethan complained about the menu. Mom spent the whole dinner asking him what color sheets he wanted for his dorm room. I sat there in my honor cords watching my parents plan my brother's future while mine felt like an inconvenience. When I asked Mom later why Ethan got a party, and I didn't, she smiled gently. School was harder for him, she said. You're self-motivated. You don't need validation. Self-motivated. That's what you call a kid who learns early. No one is going to celebrate her. College was more of the same, just with higher stakes. Ethan went to State University, partied for 6 years, changed majors 4 times. My parents paid everything: tuition, housing, meal plans, spending money, spring breaks, fraternity dues. They said he needed to focus on school without stress. I went to community college while working full-time overnight at a warehouse, transferred later. Graduated with $31,000 in student loans I'm still paying off. My parents contributed nothing except commentary on how I should have tried harder for scholarships. I slept 4 hours a night, drank gas station coffee, ate vending machine meals. They saw me exhausted at family dinners and never offered help. But when Ethan wanted fraternity dues, $800 appeared in a week. Now at 32, I have a stable career, a small house, and a reliable car. I built everything myself. Ethan still lives in my parents' finished basement, rent-free, finding himself. And somehow, according to my parents, he's a success story. That was the role I was expected to play forever. I just didn't know yet how close I was to walking away from all of it. If childhood taught me where I stood, adulthood confirmed it in permanent ink. By the time I was 24, the gap between Ethan and me wasn't just emotional anymore. It was financial, social, and undeniable. And somehow my parents still acted like we were running the same race. Ethan's college years dragged on like an extended vacation. 6 years at State University, 4 major changes. Pre-med because Dad wanted a doctor in the family. Business after organic chemistry crushed him. Psychology because a girl he liked was in that program. Marketing because it sounded useful. And finally, communications because his advisor told him it was the only major he had enough credits to graduate with. Every switch came with a reset. New books, new housing, new tuition payments. My parents covered all of it. They like to say they didn't keep track of the exact amount, but I did the math once out of morbid curiosity. Tuition, housing, meal plans, spending money trips, fraternity dues. It had to be close to $180, 000. When I brought up my student loans once, Mom frowned like I'd said something impolite. Well, Ethan needed stability, she said. You've always been resilient. Resilient. Another word that meant we didn't feel obligated to help you. After graduation, Ethan moved straight back into my parents' house. Their basement, ironically the same one I'd lived in, except now it had been renovated. New flooring, new lighting, a bathroom that didn't smell like mildew. He paid no rent, no utilities, no groceries. He's figuring things out, Dad said proudly. At 19, I'd paid $400 a month to live in that same basement before it was upgraded. When I reminded them of that, Mom said I'd wanted independence. I didn't want independence. I needed somewhere to sleep. I, on the other hand, started at the bottom of supply chain management. Weird hours, angry clients, missed holidays. I worked my way up over 8 years to senior logistics coordinator. $73,000 a year, plus bonuses. Nothing flashy but solid, stable, real. I bought a small house in a decent neighborhood, paid my bills, built a life without asking anyone for help. According to my parents, this made me too focused on money. Family gatherings became unbearable theater. Mom would ask Ethan about his latest project like he was unveiling a masterpiece. He'd talk for half an hour about designing a logo for a friend's failed startup. Mom nodded like she was watching genius unfold. Dad chimed in about entrepreneurial spirit. Then Mom would turn to me. Are you still doing that warehouse thing? Not how's work. Not are you happy. Just that warehouse thing, said the way people talk about a bad habit. Once at Thanksgiving, I tried explaining my job. I got 3 sentences in before Ethan interrupted with a story about an Instagram influencer who wanted him to design something. Everyone leaned toward him. My explanation evaporated midair, unfinished and forgotten. Ethan's girlfriend, Brooklyn, fit seamlessly into the family mythology. She was a lifestyle influencer with about 3,000 Instagram followers, most of them suspiciously inactive. Smoothie bowls, sunset yoga, inspirational quotes over stock photos. She lived off Ethan's allowance from my parents, which I found out was $800 a month. She once asked if I wanted to invest in her personal brand expansion, $5,000 for a professional photo shoot and Instagram ads. I said no. My boyfriend Daniel couldn't have been more different. He worked in IT infrastructure. Quiet, steady, smart in a way that didn't need applause. He fixed things without announcing it. He noticed when people were uncomfortable. He listened. We'd been together 4 years, talking about engagement, a real future. My parents weren't impressed. Mom once asked why I couldn't find someone ambitious like Brooklyn. Daniel heard that comment. He didn't say anything at the time, just squeezed my hand under the table. Later in the car, he said, I don't think they see you. He was right. The breaking point came 3 months later. Ethan announced he was proposing. My parents went into full production mode immediately. Engagement party, 80 guests, catered food, open bar. Dad called me, asking me to contribute $2,000 since I was doing so well financially. Ethan wasn't contributing anything. He was saving for the ring with money my parents gave him. I laughed, out loud. That laugh was the first crack in something that had been holding for 32 years. And it wasn't the last. I didn't mean to laugh when Dad asked me for the money. It just slipped out sharp and surprised, like my body reacted before my brain could soften it. $2,000, I said, for Ethan's engagement party. Dad went quiet for a second the way he always did when something didn't land the way he expected. Then his voice tightened. Well, yes, you're doing well, Hannah. Family helps family. Is Ethan helping, I asked. Is he paying for any of it? He's saving for the ring, Dad said, like that explained everything. With money you gave him. Another pause. That's different. That word again. Different. It always was when it came to Ethan. I told Dad I'd think about it and hung up. I didn't think about it for even a second. 2 weeks passed. I didn't send money. I didn't mention it. I assumed my silence was answer enough. It wasn't. Mom called on a Wednesday evening while Daniel and I were making dinner. I put her on speaker without thinking habit, not trust. Hannah, she said, already upset. We're in a bit of a bind. I knew exactly where this was going. We budgeted for the engagement party expecting your contribution, she continued. We've already put deposits down. Now we're short. I never agreed to contribute, I said calmly. I never said yes. Well, I assumed you would, she replied. I raised you better than to abandon your brother during something this important. That sentence landed heavier than it should have. The right thing, she continued, is supporting your family. The right thing would have been treating both your kids equally, I said. But we're way past that. She bristled immediately. We have always treated you and Ethan the same. Her voice had that sharp edge the one it got when she knew she was wrong but refused to admit it. Any differences were because Ethan needed more support. We've always been independent. There it was, the narrative they'd been rehearsing for decades. Independent meant ignored. Self-sufficient meant not worth the investment. I was tired of vague excuses, so I started listing specifics. The Mustang versus the bus schedule, I said. Fully funded 6-year college experience versus my student loans. Ethan living rent-free at 28 while I paid rent at 19. She had an explanation for everything. The car was necessary for Ethan's social development. The loans built my credit and responsibility. Charging Ethan rent would have stifled his creativity. Each excuse delivered with absolute conviction, like she'd repeated them so often she actually believed them. Finally, she sighed. You've always been jealous of your brother. That's when I knew the conversation was past saving. I'm not jealous, I said. I pity him. He's 28, unemployed, and completely dependent on you. Her voice went cold. At least Ethan is grateful. You've always been difficult, always complaining. Everything has been about Ethan for 28 years, I snapped. Maybe if you were more like him, we'd want to help you more. She didn't deny it. She just said, forget the party money. We'll figure it out ourselves. We don't need anything from you. Something in me clicked into place. Good, I said, because from now on you're getting nothing from me. She laughed, actually laughed. You're going to stop talking to us over this? No, I said. I'm stopping because you've made it clear my entire life that I'm the backup daughter. You're being childish, maybe, but I'm done. There was a beat of silence. Then she said it. Sometimes I wish you were never born. The words hung there, ugly and irreversible. I felt oddly calm. Okay, I said. Consider your wish granted. She started to speak, but I hung up. I blocked her number. Then Dad's, then Ethan's. Facebook, Instagram, everything. I removed 17 contacts that night. Each one felt like cutting another thread that had been quietly strangling me. Daniel came home an hour later and found me sitting on the couch staring at nothing. He didn't ask what I'd done. He asked what happened. And when I told him, he didn't question me. He didn't suggest cooling off. He just said, I'm proud of you. That was when I knew this wasn't a mistake. It was an ending. The silence after I cut them off was louder than any argument we'd ever had. For the first few days, I kept expecting something to break through the blocks. An unknown number, an email, a knock at the door. Nothing came. No messages, no apologies, no panic. A small, ugly part of me wondered if they were relieved. Daniel stayed close without hovering. He cooked. He did the grocery run. He didn't push me to talk, but he stayed within arm's reach, like he knew the ground under me was still shifting. A week later, the engagement party happened. I knew the date. It had been burned into my brain from all the planning calls before everything blew up. That Saturday, Daniel took me out to dinner. We saw a movie, came home and played video games until midnight. I didn't think about the party once. Sunday morning, the doorbell rang at 8. I opened the door to find my Aunt Rachel standing there, already looking uncomfortable. She was my mother's younger sister, the reasonable one in the family, the listener, the nodder, the never do anything about it one. Your mom asked me to talk to you, she said. Not interested. Hannah, please, just hear me out. Against my better judgment, I let her in. Daniel was still asleep, so we sat at the kitchen table while I made bad coffee. Rachel didn't waste time. The party was a disaster, she said. I raised an eyebrow, because I wasn't there. She shook her head quickly. They barely noticed that. It was a disaster because they had to scale everything back without showing. No fancy venue. My parents' backyard instead. No caterer. Food cooked by Mom and her friends. No open bar. A cooler of beer and soda. Brooklyn was furious, Rachel continued. She expected something bigger. She and Ethan fought in front of everyone. I stared at my coffee. Sounds like a them problem. Ethan thinks you did it on purpose, she said carefully. Like you sabotaged the party. I laughed. I couldn't help it. I sabotaged a party by not giving money. I never agreed to give. Rachel winced. Your mom is really hurt. She didn't mean what she said. Yes, she did, I said. She meant every word. She was angry. She's been angry for 32 years, I replied. She just finally said the quiet part out loud. Rachel tried every line in the book. Blood is thicker than water. You only get one family. Life is too short for grudges. I shut them down with facts, with history, with receipts. What do you want me to tell her? Rachel asked finally. Tell her I don't exist anymore, I said. She wished for it. I'm honoring it. Rachel left looking defeated. I felt nothing. No guilt, no relief, just calm. 2 weeks later, Dad showed up at my office. He got past the front desk somehow and appeared in my doorway while I was eating lunch. We need to talk, he said. No, we don't. He sat down anyway. He talked about how I was tearing the family apart, How Mom cried every day, how Ethan was devastated, how this was all ridiculous over a few $1,000s. It's not about the money, I said. It's about 32 years of being treated like I don't matter. That's not true. Dad, I said, you restored a Mustang for Ethan. You gave me a bus schedule. You said you didn't want a car. I was 14. I said that because I knew you couldn't afford two. Then Ethan turned 16 and suddenly money wasn't an issue. He had no response. You paid for Ethan's college, I continued. I'm still paying off loans. You let him live rent-free at 28. I paid rent at 19. Ethan needed more time, and I didn't. We went in circles until I told him to leave or I'd call security. As he stood up angry now, he said, "You're going to regret this. Family is all you have." "Then I guess I don't have much," I replied. That night, my boss called me into his office. "Your father was here today," he said carefully. "He told me you were having a mental health crisis." My stomach dropped. "He wanted me to keep an eye on you," my boss continued. "But frankly, the fact that he showed up here told me more about him than about you." That was the moment I realized they weren't just upset. They were escalating. After my boss told me what my father had said, something cold settled in my chest. This wasn't about hurt feelings anymore. It wasn't about reconciliation. It was about control. On the drive home, I called Daniel and told him everything. He was furious in the quiet, dangerous way, jaw-tight, voice steady. "That's not concern," he said. "That's sabotage." He was right. That night, I sent a calm, professional email to my boss, HR, and building security explaining that I was estranged from my parents and requesting that they not be allowed into the building again. No emotion, just facts, documentation, boundaries. I thought that would slow things down. It didn't. A week later, Ethan showed up at my house. It was a Tuesday evening. Daniel and I were cooking dinner when the doorbell rang. I checked the peephole and saw Ethan standing there in distressed jeans and a vintage band t-shirt, like he'd stepped out of a carefully curated identity crisis. I didn't open the door. "Go away, Ethan," I called through it. "Come on, Hannah, we need to talk." "There's nothing to talk about." "You're ruining my engagement." That actually made me laugh. "Brooklyn's parents think we're broke now," he continued. "Her dad keeps asking why my sister didn't help out. It's embarrassing." "That sounds like a you problem." "Stop being petty," he snapped. "I know you're mad about the college thing and the car thing, but that was years ago. Get over it." The college thing, the car thing, like they were isolated incidents instead of a lifelong pattern. "Leave," I said. "If you come back, I'm calling the police." He stood there for a moment, probably waiting for me to cave like I always used to. I didn't. When he finally left, he shouted that Brooklyn's family thought we were dysfunctional. Good. Week 5 brought a new tactic. Mom started calling Daniel. She'd gotten his number from an old family event. The first messages were gentle, concerned. She was worried about me, wanted to make sure I was okay, hoped Daniel could help me see reason. Daniel didn't reply. Then the messages shifted. Maybe he was the problem. Maybe he was isolating me. Maybe he didn't understand family dynamics. Classic triangulation. Divide and conquer. Daniel showed me every message. We blocked her number on his phone too. That Saturday, she escalated again. She showed up at the middle school where Daniel worked. She waited until after classes and approached him in the parking lot. Daniel called me immediately. "Your mom is here," he said. "She's crying. She says she just wants to talk to you." "She's blocking my car." "Don't engage," I said. "Call school security." They escorted her off campus and warned her about trespassing. Daniel filed a formal report with the principal. Her name was flagged in the system. That was when it finally sank in. They weren't trying to fix anything. They were trying to wear me down. I talked to a lawyer friend who told me to document everything. Dates, messages, witnesses. He said if this continued, restraining orders and defamation claims were absolutely on the table. A few days later, my Uncle Dave reached out, Dad's older brother. Quiet, observant, the kind of man who watched everything and rarely spoke. "I'm not here to mediate," he said when we met at a diner across town. "But you should know what's being said about you. My parents were telling people I'd had a breakdown, that I was unstable, that I'd threatened my mother, that they were afraid of me. They were rewriting history." "I know it's not true," Dave said. "I've known you your whole life, but they're committed to that story." I felt sick but not surprised. "They did this to you for years," he added. "The favoritism, the excuses. We all saw it. We just didn't stop it." I thanked him, asked if he'd be willing to make a statement if it came to legal action. He didn't hesitate. Yes. That night, through my lawyer, I sent a single clear message to my parents. Stop spreading false information. Stop contacting my workplace. Stop contacting my partner. Stay away from our property. Any further contact would result in legal action. The direct harassment stopped after that. The consequences, however, were just beginning. Silence returned after the lawyer's letter, but this time it felt different. Not tense, not anticipatory, final. Weeks passed with no direct contact, no surprise appearances, no emotional ambushes. I stopped checking my phone every time it buzzed. I slept better, ate better, laughed without that low-grade anxiety humming under my skin. Then the consequences started surfacing whether I wanted updates or not. Uncle Dave called one afternoon. "You didn't hear this from me," he said, already breaking his own rule. "But things are shifting." Apparently, Brooklyn's parents had started asking uncomfortable questions. They were traditional, old school, the kind of people who noticed absence. When they realized Ethan's sister wasn't involved in the engagement or the wedding planning, they wanted to know why. Mom tried the same story she'd been telling everyone else. Mental health crisis, instability, difficult personality. Brooklyn's father didn't buy it. He Googled me, found my LinkedIn, saw my steady career, my clean record, a normal adult life that didn't match the picture my parents were painting. So he kept digging. He talked to relatives, family friends, people who'd seen the dynamic for years but never challenged it. The truth came out piece by piece about the favoritism, the college money, the party fund demand, and finally the sentence my mother never thought would leave the family bubble. "I wish you were never born." Brooklyn's father was furious. Not at me, at my parents. He came from a big family where fairness was non-negotiable. The idea that parents could openly favor one child over another and then deny it was unacceptable to him. According to Dave, he told Ethan to think very carefully about what kind of family he was asking Brooklyn to marry into. That's when Ethan panicked. He called me from a number I didn't recognize. I answered out of habit before I realized. "You're destroying my life," he said immediately. I didn't respond. "Brooklyn's dad thinks our family is screwed up because of you," Ethan continued. "He's questioning the wedding. Her mom keeps asking questions. This is a nightmare." "This didn't come from me," I said calmly. "It came from Mom." "Whatever," he snapped. "We need to fix this." "No. What do you want?" "An apology," he said quickly. "Fine. I'm sorry you're upset about the college stuff." That wasn't an apology. "I don't want anything from you," I said. "I want you to leave me alone." "You're really going to let me lose her over this?" "You're not losing her because of me," I replied. "You might lose her because she's realizing what kind of family you come from." He started shouting. I hung up and blocked the number. The wedding didn't get canceled outright. It got postponed indefinitely. Brooklyn told Ethan she wouldn't move forward until serious family issues were addressed. Her father backed her completely. He wanted acknowledgement, accountability, real change. My parents refused. They hadn't done anything wrong. Any problems were because of my attitude. So the wedding stalled. Month 4 passed quietly. Then Dave called again. Ethan had moved out of my parents' basement, got a real job IT support at a mid-sized company. Steady hours, actual responsibilities. Brooklyn insisted on premarital counseling, focusing heavily on family boundaries and favoritism. "Your brother's growing up," Dave said. Painfully, but he is. Good for him. It didn't change anything for me. My parents weren't doing as well. Family members started distancing themselves. Poker nights disappeared. Church friends stopped calling. People didn't say anything openly, but they treated my parents differently now. For the first time, consequences had found them, and they didn't like it. Stop! Part 7. Chosen Family. The letter arrived on a Thursday. Certified mail. 3 pages. My father's handwriting neat, controlled, careful, in the way people write when they're trying to sound reasonable. I read it once, then again. It opened with philosophy, parenting theory, how they'd always tried to meet each child's unique needs, how love didn't always look the same, how intentions mattered more than perception. Then came the justifications. The car was about Ethan's social development. The college money was about timing and finances. Letting Ethan live rent-free was temporary support during a difficult phase. On the 3rd page, they finally reached something that looked like an apology. They were sorry I felt hurt, sorry I'd misunderstood their intentions, sorry the relationship had deteriorated over a misunderstanding about an engagement party. They wanted family counseling, with a mediator of my choosing. I handed the letter to Daniel. "That's not an apology," he said after reading it. "That's a defense brief." He was right. There was no ownership, no accountability, just a polished attempt to pull me back into the same pattern with softer language. I didn't respond. 2 weeks later, Ethan messaged me on LinkedIn. Professional, measured, carefully worded. He said he'd started counseling, that he was seeing things differently, that the favoritism was real, that he hadn't noticed because he'd benefited from it. "I'm sorry," he wrote. I stared at the message for a long time. Then I replied with one sentence. "Good luck with that. Not cruel, not warm, just final. Last week Aunt Rachel tried one last time." Mom wanted to know why she hadn't been told about the wedding. I typed back slowly. She wished I was never born. She doesn't get to attend the life she wished didn't exist. Rachel didn't reply. So here I am, planning a wedding without my parents, building a family based on choice, not obligation, standing in a life where I'm not a backup anymore. For the first time, I'm not invisible.